Black Adam has arrived in theatres, and by the end of the new DCEU film, we're introduced to the Man in Black himself, the Justice Society, and another iconic hero in a great post-credit scene. We start to get a sense of this new era for DC and the types of character crossovers that we might see down the line, with Warner Bros. Discovery's new slate due to begin after the upcoming Flash film. I'm going to be explaining the ending for the new Dwayne Johnson superhero movie and discussing what we might see in Black Adam 2 based on what the movie's producer said in an interview yesterday. This analysis will contain spoilers from the end of Black Adam, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't seen the film yet, then I would recommend watching this video after you've seen it. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on all of my future videos on DC films, then don't forget to support this upload by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, turning on your notifications, and following me on social media via the links in the description. But without further ado, let's dive into the ending of Black Adam Explained. So Black Adam is finally out in theatres, and it allows Dwayne Johnson to show us the passion project that he's been wanting to bring to life for over a decade. He gets to show us this full anti-hero in telling the story of Tef Adam, a man who goes from slave to god before being put in a tomb for 5 millennia. Of course, when he's freed, the world has drastically changed, and with that, the Man in Black needs to decide who he wants to be in this modern reality. And in this new reality, we are introduced to a plethora of other superpowered characters, including the Justice Society, with DC's oldest team being comprised of Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate, Quintessa Swindell's Cyclone, Aldis Hodge's Hawkman, and Noah Centineo's Atom Smasher. As revealed in the trailer from a while back, Tef Adam also went up against the villainous Sabak and helped liberate a human cast led by Sarah Shahi as Adriana and her quite annoying son Amon. There are also appearances by Viola Davis's Amanda Waller and Jennifer Holland's Amelia Harcourt, who starred in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad and HBO series Peacemaker, so it's a big crossover event from different eras of DC, especially if you consider the later post-credit scene with a certain Man of Steel. So in the ending of Black Adam, after Dr. Fate is killed by a risen Sabak, the hellish villain sits on Kando's throne, with the legions of hell emerging from the ground so that they can begin to devour the living. With Fate dead, the barrier that he forged around the throne vanishes, and this gives the JSA a chance to fight back. It's established before though that they wouldn't stand a chance against Sabak without Tef Adam, and thanks to Fate's last second astral projection to Adam in the underwater prison he'd been confined in, he convinces him to come back and fight the demonic villain that's on the brink of destroying Kando. Black Adam arrives amongst the chaos to help Hawkman, while Adriana and Amon lead the city's people against Sabak's with the assist of Cyclone and Atom Smasher. Both Adam and Sabak are equally matched, as both are champions of the most powerful magical beings in the universe, but with Hawkman by his side, he does beat him. Hawkman distracts Sabak by using Fate's helmet to project copies of himself, and that gives Black Adam the time to electrocute him and then follow up by brutally tearing the villain in half. So with the fight now over, Hawkman agrees to leave Tef Adam alone, and he understands that Kando's people want him to be their protector. We saw them not react so strongly towards the JSA throughout the film, whereas with Black Adam, they see him as their savior, even if he does use brutal ways of going about his enemies. And as for Black Adam, he destroys the throne, echoing the message that his son's dream was for their people to be free. While he won't rule, he decides to become Kando's savior, ensuring that no one would take the place of the Intergang in the coming future. This leads us to a post-credit scene, and it's clear to us right off the bat that Amanda Waller is not happy with how things have developed here. She decides to visit the anti-hero via a drone hologram, and she tells Tef Adam that Kando is now his new prison, and if he ever decides to leave its borders, she'll send someone from another planet to defeat him. Black Adam destroys Waller's drone, creating a puff of smoke, and enter one of the most iconic and powerful superheroes in the DCU universe. Henry Cavill's Superman walks out of the smoke, telling Adam that the world hasn't been this nervous in a long time and that he needs to talk to him. So there's a growing conflict within the DCEU, and with Man of Steel 2 being confirmed the other day, there's the opportunity for multiple projects surrounding these characters, including two of the most powerful beings fighting each other when it comes to Black Adam and Superman. So that brings us to the discussion of what can we expect to see in the next film with Black Adam. Well, it's key to point out that the other day, the film's producers discussed what we might see and the general plans going forward. Producers Hiram Garcia and Beau Flynn told comicbook.com in an interview that they are not expecting there to be too much time before we see Tef Adam again. Flynn said, "Don't worry, we will open up the magic wagon, we'll have the script ready pretty fast." There is no official word on a sequel yet, and of course we need to see how well the first film does and wait until the production schedules of Garcia, Flynn and Johnson clear up so that they can fit another DC production on their schedule. Garcia said, "Our vision is, what we really want to establish is Superman exists in the same world as Black Adam. Both those guys exist in the same universe, and that's important for us. It's in the universe where our JSA is, and so forth. But we really wanted the world to know that these guys are going to cross paths, and how we do it, we're still working on that. We don't want to give that away, but I will say that it's much bigger than what people think." Johnson himself said at the premiere for Black Adam that there is a desire for a longer story to be told with their work in the DC Comics movie universe, and they are definitely not looking for a quick one-off. Garcia added, "These guys exist in the same universe, and there's a lot of fun to be had when you basically have the two most powerful beings in the universe that's on opposite sides, but also have some very interesting similarities to them. For us, there's a lot of opportunities to tell some great stories around." So by saying that, he's adding to the Black Adam v Superman idea that's been floating around for the last few weeks, and these words definitely hint at that being the priority. I think it's going to be interesting to see who helms and writes this type of film, because for one, I think all the pieces they set up in Black Adam were great, even if the execution wasn't the greatest. Black Adam may have had a terrible script and story, but the introduction of characters like Black Adam, the JSA, and Superman might provide a better writer with the opportunity to create a better film. And the producer is right in saying that you could really play with the similarities between Black Adam and Superman in an interesting way, so hopefully if they do get a great writer and filmmaker on board for the sequel, it could provide some interesting narrative routes. And when it comes to the other characters, I could definitely see the JSA being involved, new players having joined them, and for all we know, they might even be the ones that try to prevent Black Adam and Superman from having a devastating fight. The original members of the Justice Society of America were Dr. Fate, Hourman, the Spectre, Sandman, Atom, the Flash, Green Lantern, and Hawkman, and as you notice, there's members here that aren't currently a part of the JSA in the DC movie universe. So I can definitely see that being something they consider, and while that could mean that they either get their own film or just join the cast of Black Adam 2, we can only guess at this current moment. Still, it'll be exciting to see what they do with that, and I personally think that they can be a really strong element of a new DC film if it has a better writer. Another character that will likely be involved in the future is one that integrally links to the origin of Black Adam's powers, and that is none other than Shazam. Dwayne Johnson explained previously that he felt Shazam and Black Adam should be given their own movies. He said, "The original plan, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I think, was to tell the two origin stories of Shazam and Black Adam in the same movie. That's what we had worked on, the script was delivered. When we all read the script, I immediately felt like we have to separate these two movies. We have to honour Shazam and that origin story and what that is and what that can be for the fans, and then we have to also tell our story too as well. I think in separating them, with the majority of the world not knowing who Black Adam is, if you weren't a serious comic book fan, it was important, I think, to separate them and tell each story respectively. Of course, it's only a matter of time before Shazam and Black Black Adam do face off, but Dwayne Johnson did say that we shouldn't expect it right away. He said, "Without giving too much away, it's not in the plans right now. This is an origin story, and that's where we start it and where we root it, and then we build out from there." Now, not to say Shazam isn't on my radar, of course Shazam is, but so is all of DC. We all know that Zachary Levi is starring in the upcoming Shazam Fury of the Gods film just months after the recent release of Black Adam, and while again, this crossover seems likely to happen, based on these comments, it seems more likely that we'll be getting the Black Adam and Superman film first. So with those characters and potential movies, there's definitely an opening for multiple projects in the DCEU surrounding the Man in Black. I think all of these things will eventually happen, it's just a case of seeing how the first film does at the box office, and waiting for the next stage of the DCEU to begin following the Flash film that's due to come out next year. After that, Warner Bros. Discovery will really be putting in place their big plans, and like they've stated with Man of Steel 2, they want to get quality writers and directors involved with each of the projects they're making. That's what primarily excites me about Black Adam 2 and the future of DC films as a whole. We've got all the separated stuff with the Batman and Joker, which at the minute is going down extremely well. And then when it comes to the future of the DCEU, they've said that they really want to take what people like, add to that, and do so with quality filmmaking. In the announcement that they are looking for writers to work on a Man of Steel sequel, they said that they want to get someone like Christopher McQuarrie to direct it, and that to me is a signal that they are looking to have talented people helm the next era of the DCEU. So imagine taking the introduced elements and characters in Black Adam and producing a much better story and script, alongside attaching a director that can do something really interesting with it. I think by having Black Adam and Superman together in a recently shot post-credit scene, you are making the big statement that going forward, you have some promising things to play out, and again, having quality behind that will only elevate the long-form storytelling that they wish to accomplish. Time will soon tell if that is the case, and this is really just me being hopeful, but I do honestly think that WB would want to take what works about the universe now and use that in the future to create some really good films in the long run. We'll have to see, but I for one am excited to see what direction they go in, and how they start to connect and create each movie in the next era of the DCEU. But that was my video explaining the ending for Black Adam and discussing what this could mean for the sequel with all of the characters that have been introduced. I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the film and what you think about a potential Black Adam 2, so don't forget to let me know down below in the comment section. For more on Black Adam and other DC movies like the Batman, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.